Going everybody, it's me Shane and I'm here to give you another Digimon Ghost Game episode review and recap. Today's episode is episode 11, also known as Kamaitachi. What is a Kamaitachi? Well, before I tell you what a Kamaitachi is, I'm going to first ask you that if you're new here to give me a like, a comment, and a subscribe. And if you're not new here, hit the notification bell to be notified of more videos just like this. I am trying to get to 200 subscribers. We're trying to take this channel right up to the moon, and we're getting better and better every single time we do this, guys. Every time. Every time. Now, you know it's not getting better. It's pretty mean for me to say that, and it's a pretty funny segue, but I'll tell you what a Kamaitachi is first. So Kamaitachi is basically a wind weasel. And I didn't have to look this one up. I actually know what Kamaitachi is because I tend to, well, used to do a lot of random studies, but I do like cryptozoology and I like looking up different religions and mythologies as well as my whole anime reviewing stick. I like looking up things. I like information. That's why I'm a Ravenclaw. But uh, the thing is, Kamaitachi is the speed is not the speed weasel. Sorry, it is the wind weasel. You guys watch Naruto? Well, Tamari, remember her summon with the fan? That's what it is. It's a literally a wind weasel yokai slash demon that has a scythe and it goes through and it cuts things. It's so fast that you can barely see it. Now, from a quick little search, I did find that apparently they commonly arrive on dust devils, and dust devils are literally just microverses. And if you don't know what microverses, it's just tiny whirlwinds and sometimes strong whirlwinds when you're talking about dust devils. So that's what a Kamaitachi is. They're still doing the whole, um, urban legends mythology. Isn't it's more than just urban legends? It's mythologies and things like that. And that's a really great premise. I give you that. It's just I don't like somehow the pacing is, and I had a big problem with how two characters act in this episode. Actually, one and a half characters how they act in this episode. So of course, now on when we start the episode, we're doing the whole hologram ghost thing. We're showing the same thing with Mummymon. Hi, Mummymon, and we have the Draco or Dracule, the ones with the eyes and the hands like Pan Labyrinth. We're doing that because obviously it's a Ruli and Angoramon centric episode. And there's a man and a woman that are walking through the park, and she's like, "Oh, it's so cold," and he's like, "Oh, you always get so cold," and it's actually, you can see their breath, but you hear "don't," and you hear one person saying "shut up," and suddenly the wind is just whipping around them. All the lights get cut, and these are like light fixtures, like street light fixtures that go through this park, and they're just being broken, and then suddenly trees are getting cut, and we see this Digimon, and I recognize the Digimon. I just didn't remember its name, and actually, a couple of years ago, it's one of the Digimon I actually kind of like because it was new and it's different. Um, but I'll reveal whom they are in a moment. But yeah, the crazy thing is, you see the spinning. They get their purse and their jacket and everything cut, and this Digimon is just staring at them and saying, "Today's the day I finally stop you." Before it jumps into the trees. We can hear two distinct voices, so we know something's going on. And at the same time, late at night, Angoramon is leaving out. Now, I forgot to say in one of my earlier review I had did of Yashahime, there's this phrase like "itekimasu" that just means "I'm going." Actually, no, I didn't forget to say that because "itekimasu" was said twice in this episode. But it's basically a phrase, um, just saying, "All right, out I go." But he thinks Ruli's asleep. Ruli's not asleep. He's peeking over covers, like, why is he going out? And he, does the invisible thing they do, where people can't see them, but they can go and move about. We can see them if you have that little digivice on them. You can see them. So the next day, Ruli's taking pictures with an old style camera. It basically looks like a Polaroid. Um, Holy crap. Just realized there might be some people out there that don't know what a Polaroid is. Polaroid is a type of camera which was revolutionary because growing up, when you took pictures, whether it was with a big professional camera or with a disposable camera, you had to take the film to people to process. Walgreens would do this, CVS's would do this. I think at some point in time with Kmart, and now possibly Walmart's in the very beginning. But over time, we get a thing called Polaroids, where you take the photo and the picture came right out. And a lot of times you would shake it. Now, Ruli does this, and Angoramon says it mixes the chemicals, but you shouldn't do it. But shut up. Everybody did it, so shut up. But for some reason, she's into photographing. I think Ruli is constantly trying to find like something that is like her thing or something that she enjoys. Because outside of doing the piano, it just looks like she's trying different things. Because even at the end of the episode, she says, "I guess doing the camera thing wasn't my thing," and you'll find out why she says that in a moment. So where am I at here? Um, Gormon with his ears, he hears "don't." He hears that "don't" again, and looks off and really asks what's going on. He's like, nothing. There's nothing." But it gets really cold. The wind whips up, and then the sign behind them gets cut. Now Gormon has to grab her and move her out the way. Of course, a shop owner lady does not see him, but she says, "Hey, young lady, you need to be careful because the weather has gotten so bad and a lot of things are happening. Blah 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 blah." And she's like, "All right, I will." Now, let me see. Oops. Go over here. Now, and Gorman once again is thinking, and she's asking him, so what's going on? And he is here, and she's already walked ahead of him, taking pictures. And he says, "Oh yeah, don't really worry about it. I'm here. I'm not thinking about anything." And she says to him, "Well, obviously there's some other place you want to be, right?" Like she brings up the fact that he's been leaving late at night lately, and she says when I'm looking through pictures, and he says it's nothing really. And tells her about a picture being blurry, and she's like, she's going for authenticity. So she doesn't really care about your saying it's blurry. It's obvious that she's upset, right? Because he's hiding something from her. So she gets a message. So she says she's leaving. She's going about and doing something. So she says itekimasu. And she's getting a message from her friend Aoi. They're supposed to go eat dessert and blah blah blah. And she says, it's been a while since she's actually had time to herself and that she's been alone. And now we get this weird. Well, it's not a weird subplot, but excuse me. I guess it's supposed to explain why Kirishiro wasn't there. But this isn't the reason. Well, this is part of the reason why. So he's playing a VR game, and Jellymon heard about Ruli doing the photo thing, and she says, "Hey, I want a camera." He's like, "Your smartphone has a camera." And she's like stretching his arms and pulling him. And she's like, "I want to go shopping. Let me get a camera now." And he's like, "Fine, fine, fine, fine." Literally, this dude has a Digimon for a girlfriend. I know a certain community would definitely appreciate that, given that she's a jellyfish. Just saying. Hey, I'm not judging. But and skip over here. I have so many notes. And one of the funniest things that I had to write down. This is like some type of future tech world. Like Digimon Adventure 2020 was more so our world, and like the original Digimon Adventure was us during the 90s. Digimon Adventure 02 was us during the early 2000s. This shit here says she has 7G on her phone. 7Gs. With the holograms and all that. I'm like, Jesus, man. How did you all not have Digimon before this? So, she's talking to Hiro. Sorry. Uh, actually, before that. And Gormon says he apologizes to Ruli, saying he can't go with her today. He has some stuff he's doing. But she openly tells him, she's going to have dessert with her friends and go meet with Hiro, blah, blah, blah. Well, have dessert with her friends, blah, 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 blah. She's going to go to that park. Whew. Pardon me. She's going to go to a park later and take pictures. But he just says, yeah, I'm just going out. Which is just like, you can tell it frustrates her. She openly says, "You are being weird," and leaves. And she's talking to Hiro about it. Saying, he's leaving now and he's not telling where he's going. Even when she asks, and he says, "Well, why don't you just tell him?" And she's like, "That's not what I want to do." And at first I'm like, But then I thought about it. I'm like, okay, you don't want to have that type of relationship. These are Digimon partners, right? you don't want to have that kind of relationship, and it's kind of the same thing with people partners, where I have to go and follow you to know where you're going. Why don't you just be open and tell me, especially since I'm taking the initiative and asking? Poor Ruli, right? Should have got Jellymon, the bratty one. And had to increase the size on her. Sorry about that, guys. Anyway, um, while this is going on, we have Bokomon feeding Gamamon some, I think it's like a chocolate ice cream kind of thing. Gamamon's just eating it, and it's all over. Cause I guess I know Bokomon wants to study him. I guess Bokomon is still treating Gamamon kind of like a baby. So here we are. Where Hero says he's actually more interested in about the mysterious wind gusts that she was telling him about. Even the school people have warned them about what was going on, and she says, "You sure it's not just bad weather?" He's like, "I can't be 100% sure." I like the fact when Ruli's not doing her own thing that Hero's just like looking up stuff that could be Digimon because he's actively looking for his dad. Unless between him looking up stuff Angoramon being the information mon, Pokemon being the information mon, really looks up some of this stuff when she's interested and not having some other thing that she wants to spend her time with. And even Jellymon does the same thing. It's very interesting to have a very group of semi, if not well informed individuals in a Digimon show. Pretty interesting. Um, so we get a cute moment where Hero is telling Gamma, "I told you, don't be messy when you eat," and he's like, "I'm not messy." He's like, "You're lying," because he wipes his little face. It just why is Gamamon so adorable? Why he's so cute? Oh, so Pokemon talks to Ruli while Hero's tending to his little brother, and says, "So you're not used to being alone?" And she says, "That's not it." She just doesn't know why Angoramon won't tell her what's going on. And Pokemon touches her shoulder and says, "Well, he has to have a good reason for it. Let them come to you," which I don't know if that was a good translation or not because they already called Angoramon he, but basically saying, you know, let Angoramon come to you when if it's really important, they'll come to you, right? Ruli friends show up, and Pokemon goes invisible. She's like, "All right, I'm gone," and they go off. And Hero's like, "Wait, did you just call me this fat? Really?" I find that very funny. I find their relationship dynamic between the three humans and the three Digimon to be quite interesting personally. So in an alley, we see a bunch of familiar Digimon, especially if you are a hardcore fan or even if you're a a passing through fan who watched Digimon Adventure 2020 reboot, because you do see that Mucho Penguinmon talking to Angoramon, and we see a sleeping Elecmon. We see Doku Kunemon, the green and purple version of Kunemon. Guess they're playing looks like they're playing street mahjong or street checkers. I couldn't make out the game. Pardon me. And then there's Floramon that's making tea, but they're sharing information. And Gormon's finding out about the wind gusts and everything like that. But the funniest thing is you have Labradormon. I remember when that Digimon was first revealed, and I'm like, I like this guy, this little cute little dog. Came up and was squeezing the lemon into his tea with its mouth. So biting down, everything's flowing like this, and Gormon's like, "Thanks, I'll have this later." Doesn't want to drink drool lemon tea, right? And Ruli is taking photos by the same bamboo forest that the couple earlier were at. So it only remains to be seen that all of a sudden, all the lights get cut. You hear "don't," you hear "I'll kill you," and the same thing happens. Gets cold, things are getting sliced and diced, and Rui looks up, and there is a Digimon up there that's saying, "Oh, no, actually, first you hear 'you're in the way, human,' which is what this bladed thing is saying, but there's a Digimon up top that saved her, apparently, and, she asks if it's the one causing problems. He's like, no. First of all, he was surprised that the human could see him and knew what a Digimon was. Well, surprised they knew what a Digimon was, but Uh-oh, did I miss something here? But it's the tail. The tail is attacking people and has a mind of its own. I'm just going to speed through this because we hear the Digimon's name. That Digimon name is Repamon. Oh man, the resolutions on this phone is great. Repamon, another photo. Look at that. How about we give you? Nope, that is not a good. Repamon. So if you pay attention here, it has an eye right there, and the picture of it. Now that one was kind of basic because there's a little bit more details on it. But yeah, its tail has a mind of its own. Let's read the encyclopedia real quick. Is a Kamaitachi like Digimon whose tail becomes a blade that has a will on its own. Mm. And it has let me see, the will of the blade on its tail, and it has become possible for it to cope even with attacks that surprise it from behind. However, it isn't suited for mutual communication. It has been seen quarreling with this tail in the middle of battle. It prefers to fight within forests and skillfully employs its claws and tail to easily climb trees to so close attention. Wow, so close attention is necessary when fighting Repamon in the forest. Its special moves are, striking forward. It calls it what's it called? Kukuru Rikuzen. It's not. That's a somersault move. It does, but it wildly rips apart his opponent with the sharp claws with the Jugat Rengeki. He does use that, and also when it shakes his tail, it releases Shinku Kamaitachi. It only says the Jugan move, but the rest of the moves are actually seen. Again, another moment where Digimon are taking things that are from their encyclopedia and actually putting in an episode. 2020, if that's one thing that they're carrying on from Adventure 2020 reboot, it needs to keep continuing. I'm enjoying the fact that I'm watching this, and if I didn't already remember a thing about Digimon, I look it up in this encyclopedia. I could tell you guys about it, and it's actually happening. It's pretty dang cool. Except for the thing with Pumpmon, that's not 100% what happened, but and there's one other Digimon that I can't think of, but yeah, I can't think of it at the moment, but yeah. So, where are we at here? Oh no. So, Angoramon and Digimon, they're trying to remember, they're passing more information. The Penguin and the Floramon, Faramon, which he also calls Laymon for some reason, they do their little invisible thing and they go off. And Angoramon remembers they're supposed to meet up with Ruli at that. Well, Ruli's going to that forest to take pictures, so he says, "All right, I'll go with her. I'll go find her." But the giant wind gust, he's like, "I know where that is," and just goes. Um, Ruli calls Hero, and he's gonna go there. He has to wake up Gamamon so they can go save her. Shiro doesn't answer his phone after he's going shopping. He went shopping with Jellymon, and she's happy. And he's happy that she's happy. She's like, "Hey, your phone's buzzing." He's like, "Hey, I follow the rules, and the rule on the train is to not answer your phone." And she openly calls him useless. I love that because yeah, pretty freaking useless, dude. Because it could be an emergency. Funny, I like it. Where am I at, guys? So they're running. Gamamon, was like, "I can fly," and Hero's like, "Yeah, but I'm guessing they don't have control over evolutions." But he says, "I got a really good feeling about this today." And they turn down the corner. He evolves in the alley, turns into Kaos Gamamon, and apparently he has a spot for Hero to hang on to him like a hang glider, and off they go, riding on the wind. Eventually, Ruli is falling and falls, and uh, right before it gets cut, Repamon steps on his own tail, and they talk to each other. And the tail it wants to hurt people because it wants to test its sharpness, and it's talking shit to the body that has it. And they fight, and then it gets the better of it. But Ruli's telling them, "Look, just stop fighting and talk." But they're not trying to talk. They're fighting, and they go on a spin. And what Repamon wants to do is cut off his own tail. But thank God Angoramon gets there to tackle the stupid thing. So, because of everything that's cut, Angoramon, with his giant rabbit fists, has two cut bamboos that's supposed to be its blades. And Angoramon says, And this is where we start the hypocrisy stuff. So Angoramon's like, you can even see that these two aren't going to talk and suggest this is going to end peacefully. We're just going to have to fight them, right? And she goes back and she goes, no, I think I can get through them. I just need to talk to them. So Angoramon asks them both to talk to her. The tail is just an asshole, just flat out. Tail is an asshole. Repamon's like, I appreciate you, you stopping me and everything, but I'm not going to talk this through. I'm going to beat this thing up. Don't try to stop me. And they both go on the attack. Now, the animation for this little scrap, really good. Really freaking good. I love the animation for this. But, obviously, and you know what I didn't do, guys? I didn't tell you if Repamon was what level Repamon was. I'm 110% sure that Repamon is a champion level Digimon. I'll I bet 200 Digibucks it is a vaccine champion Digimon. Just looked it up that easily. So those 200 Digibucks are mine. You owe me 200 Digibucks. So I really don't even have to read the rest of this, but I wrote down specific things that were said because I want to repeat them to you. The thing is, Revamon doesn't want to hurt people. I'm thinking to myself, why doesn't Angoramon just Digivolve? It's being called too slow because it's big and it's dodging everything. Like, you could go faster, but there's some dissension between them, right? So you can't really evolve if you have some split between, your heart and mind with your partner. So let's continue. Let me continue. All of a sudden we have Count Gamamon up in the sky with Hero, and he's telling, "Hey, Angoramon, fight up here, fight him up here." So they're gonna do their spin thing up there while Angoramon's flying. They're, apparently they're too slow for Cal's Gamamon, so they do the Enduro. I can't remember the move, but I can't remember the name of the move. But it's basically a move where, excuse me, it's a move where Cal's Gamamon does a tackle. Then he does basically a rider kick, knock him down. Ruli has him do like the double-handed uh, fist move and does a petite. Oh, I have it right here. Lamora kick. Nope. Urdura impulse. Lamora kick. Bunny jump, which is the slam, and petite tornado max output. I love the fact that petite tornado is a move amongst all, if not most, Digimon that have large ears like that. Didn't want to say rabbit ears because Terramon is not a rabbit. It is a dog. It just has big ass ears. For years I thought it was a rabbit, and I found out a couple years ago, no, it's a dog. It just has big ass ears. And Lopmon, which is the twin of Terramon, have no clue if that's a twin doggy or just a rabbit that's the twin of a dog. But they have Petite Tornado with the ears, and so does this guy. But he can do a max output that makes big wind gusts, cuts up a bunch of bamboo, shoo, 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 and makes them freeze on the ground. Now they're not listening. Period. Ruli's trying to talk to them, and Ruli says basically to Repamon, all you guys have been doing is complaining to one another, which both her and her partner has said this 3 times now. And you know, she says you guys don't tend to talk to each other, and you can't get things peaceful if you don't at least talk to each other. And I said that's weird, given the fact that and Goromon said this. Goromon, you're not even trying to talk to your partner about what's going on. You big ass hypocrite. And you know, where am I at here? So, oops, I skipped out because he was being a hypocrite earlier. Told them to talk to her. So they're sitting there trying to talk to these two Digimon who don't want to talk. But when she talks to the main body to Repamon, she's like, "You really don't want to cut off your tail." He's like, "I don't want to, but I don't want to hurt people either." His whole thing is he wants to show off his sharpness. Digimon are weird. This this series has proven Digimon's aims and goals are just fucking weird. Apologize for the language. Try not to use it so much, but it you have to say it. It's just weird. Weird AF. So she talks to the other part to the tail, and tail. It was useless for me even to write down what the tail said because it was just it doesn't translate well into you know North American type stuff, but tail just like being Sindre and all that other crap, being manly, quote unquote. And then Gormon says, "Well, how about I'm is inviting them to a gathering with other Digimon where they swap info. He's been looking for someone to cut lemonades, to cut lemons." And the tail goes, why would I do that? That's dumb, and don't lope me in with stupid games. And Gormon's like, no, it's not a joke. You have to cut very finely and very gently for these lemons, but if you can't do it, basically tricking him and saying he can do it. And Repamon's like, this isn't really going to work. And Ruli goes, well, you really won't know if you don't try. You both need to talk a lot and learn to respect each other. And in my head, and I wrote this here, I'm sitting there, you and your Digimon couldn't even tell each other what's going on. He couldn't even tell you that he was going to a meeting, legitimately. I'm like, why are you two giving? And stuff like that annoys me when people who are in bad relationships try to give good relationship advice when it reflects back on them. It's like this is like yeah, I can't remember the. I don't know if it's an anime thing or just a show thing. Where it's like yeah, I'm giving you advice that I should be listening to myself. So they're gonna give it a try. Um, Hero said he was bad. I don't. I don't have no clue what that is. But oh, so they're back at her place. All this stuff is done. And she says about her picture, she said, Hero said these are pretty bad. And then Gormon's like, well, I like them. She's like, hey, don't freaking baby me, right? And, her camera was already sliced in half because she took a picture of the tail, and the tail came back at her and cut her camera in half. So that's why I said earlier that doesn't really matter. Anyhow, um, she thanks him for saving her and says, you don't have to share everything. And I'm like, really, that's very freaking mature to be like, you know what? I'm thanking you for helping me out, but I was tripping. You ain't got to tell me everything. And he says he's sorry for not saying anything. He's sorry for not talking about the gathering because it was a rule to keep it secret from humans. And she says she'll respect his space, and they hug one another. And then he does his poem thing. He says, when we sit and talk at each other's level, we are able to see the issue from the other side of the table. I have no clue if that rhymes in Japanese, but she says what and he says nothing. And again, I'm like, why didn't they evolve? It seemed like a waste of time. The next episode is about chain letters. It's going to feature Vegemon. So, 3 out of 5. Just automatic 3 out of 5. It's not below that because, and I'm basing it on terms of the show itself, because music is already good. I told you guys, the animation is already good too, and the premise is nice. Pacing wasn't off, but the pacing of the show overall is what's giving me, and I'm comparing it to its peers, its other shows. The problem I have, and why this is 3 out of 5, is you're fighting faster Digimon. Why don't you just turn into your slimmer, faster form? And eventually, you're gonna get back into a big, hefty but faster form in your ultimate form that looks like a freaking monster thing. I'm just, and I get it. They were at odds with each other, in their hearts and in their minds because one is not trusting the other because the other one is just being weird. I don't understand why he couldn't just say, "Yeah, I go to a Digimon, you know, information gathering thing, but humans aren't allowed." That's why I haven't told you, and that's why I haven't brought you, because if I bring you, they're not going to talk to me, right? How hard was that? I said that in 30 seconds. Uh, Kirishiro was not needed for this episode, so I'm glad they found a way of just going, yeah, well, say he's just doing his own thing. I appreciate that. Hero shows up because Hero is learning about interactions with Digimon, I guess. Hero's always going to be there, and I'm okay with that. I'm not complaining about that. It's just, yeah. Last episode, I got Jellymon to Digivolve. I'll take Jellymon being the prissy, bratty girl type. Just don't get anybody in any more trouble. This is fine, right? This is fine. It's just average. Average anime episode. 3 out of 5. Nothing spectacular, but nothing too detrimental. But please, let me know what you think in the comment section down below. I deeply appreciate this. I'm dead serious. I love getting feedback. I like hearing what people think. You know, if you made it this far, who is your favorite out of the three partners? I'm leaning towards Jellymon because that last episode really highlighted her, but I still love Gamamon because he's adorable. Nothing against Angoramon, but those are the two I like more. Especially this episode, which kind of put a damper on him. As always, hit that like button to show me some love. If you're new here, subscribe and hit that little subscribe button. If you're not new here, hit that notification bell. And please share the video so others can see what a great time we're having and what information we're giving out. And as always, I'm very thankful for all of you taking time out to spend some time with me. Please be good, be blessed, wash your hands, wear a mask, be safe, be good to yourself, be good to others. Either way it goes, don't be a jerk. And I will definitely see you next time. Possibly. Next week is Christmas. So if I don't see you, have a Merry Christmas. Have a Happy New Year. Be safe out there regardless.